What is up, guys? Welcome to Random Select Daily number 4. Today, I actually have a guest. His name's Corey. Say hi, Corey.
What's up?
So quickly, I just kind of want to cover a story before I get Corey's opinion here. But basically, we're going to be talking about the next Xbox and the rumors of Always Online. And so recently, I think it was as recent as like yesterday, um, creative director of Microsoft at Microsoft Studios, at least that's what his Twitter says. He was tweeting a couple things to different people, and he was kind of derogative on like this always online. He was kind of talking about like why is this such a big deal, and actually here we have a tweet that we screen capped before he went protected, and he's saying stuff like he doesn't get why always online or always on is drama. People tried refuting with Diablo 3 and SimCity, and he kind of just went with stupid examples like electricity goes out, and then he makes fun of people that live in places that aren't as blessed as like LA, and that has great connection. So yeah, basically, I just kind of want to talk quickly about that because it's kind of interesting that before it's always been rumors, it's always been you know game sites saying unknown sources, but the actual creative director at Microsoft Studios apparently, I've never heard of the guy, but he was saying stuff about always online, and then next thing you know, his tweets are protected the next day. And yeah, so just we're gonna talk a little bit about it and see how we feel. I mean, Corey, what are your initial thoughts? Like, I was the one that told you about it, right?
Yeah.
So like, what is just your general thoughts about all of this?
Well, I think first it's good to clarify. Um, there's kind of two different types of always on that people talk about. And SimCity and Diablo 3, I think, is an example of true always on, where if you're disconnected from the internet, it will disconnect you from the game. I,
Yeah,
I own SimCity and I know this painfully well. Or on the other side of this, it's only if your internet goes out, like he's saying, or the electricity goes out. This can be EA servers are not very good, so I can't play my game.
yeah, yeah,
And that's messed up. That's not even. I could live in the area with the best internet in the world, but EA sucks at server technology, so I can't play my game. So that's one type of always on. And people always talk about, oh, well, Steam's really popular. Well, Steam, once you authenticate, you can either go in offline mode, you can play a single player game, and you can take your laptop and continue playing that game. It's not going to kick you off. At least there may be an exception on Steam. There may be, a game or two that do require always on, but for the most part, every game I've played, and I own a lot of them, you can disconnect from the internet as long as you either go in offline mode first or if you're already running the game. So I think it's important to point those two things out. I think Steam is an okay model, because at least if you get that initial connection, then you're good. Whereas, Diablo 3, what if you want to go on a trip? Well, I guess it's a dumb example. I don't know why I'd want to play video games if you're going up visiting a cabin in the mountains, camping. But theoretically, what if you wanted to? What if you're sick or something? You would never be able to play Diablo 3 there. It would never work because you need internet to play it. Whereas everything else in my Steam library, as long as I remember to go in offline mode, then I should be okay. So I think it's important to separate those two things. So I guess it's important what Microsoft is planning, which type. Are they requiring, like, if you're playing Minecraft 2 on your Xbox, whatever, it's Xbox 3, is it gonna, and you're playing single player, is it gonna kick you off if your Wi-Fi signal gets interrupted? Things like that.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, the DRM thing that has always bothered me the most was definitely always online, which I'm almost never disconnected from internet. The only time I am is when I've been moving like the Wi-Fi cord or something, and I just was too lazy to plug back in. But I have good internet. I have very stable internet. I'm always online. I barely play games outside of my house. And but you're right. It's so the worst part of it is that it may not even be your fault. Like,
yeah, it can be their servers.
exactly, and it's just
Like
like
the
that's what
SimCity
bugs me the
launch.
most. Yeah,
If the SimCity launch would have had a single player mode where you could play offline, they wouldn't have received 90% of the flack they got,
Yeah.
because
Do you know
that's how
how
people want to play it anyways.
do you know how SimCity has been like lately? Has it finally been fixed?
I know it seems stable. I can't remember. I was just getting so frustrated. I kind of just like pushed it away and tuned it out. Was planning on revisiting once all the dust settles. You know what I mean?
When I get
So
it?
they may have patched the stuff back in because to stabilize things, they had to take out a lot of features like
Yeah.
setting it to the maximum simulation speed, things like that. They
Oh,
may
really?
very well have patched it back in by now, but I just don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel the same as you in that I've also heard that, I don't remember where I heard this from. I don't know. I can't remember exactly where I heard it or read it. But I heard there was kind of like a similar thing to Steam where you just have to be on to connect. And okay, like let's face it, no matter how like technically okay it is, it's still kind of a crappy thing. Like with Steam, even though yes you have this offline mode, what if you like what if you started somewhere else and you had no internet connection then, or didn't plan ahead to like, well, I'm gonna bring my laptop, I'm gonna turn on Steam first, make sure I could work my games, and then I'm gonna leave my house. You know what I mean? Like you still have to like plan to play Steam games. Like if you just brought your laptop, you're on vacation and you just all of a sudden you had a couple hours to burn. Well, you can't play a Steam game because you can't access it, right?
Yeah, no, and that's very true.
So like
Um,
so the Steam is fine. Like in the end, the DRM kind of sucks in general, but always like it is kind of it's just kind of like taking the better of two evils, I guess. You know,
yeah, no, exactly. It is. It's the less worse
yeah.
scenario.
I mean,
Um,
we can't really fight that. It's they're coming out. So computer has had DRM for forever now. Like,
yeah. Well, and doesn't the Xbox Live Arcade already work that way? I feel like if I'm not actually signed into my Xbox Live account, that my all my arcade games show up as trials. Isn't that true?
uh, I don't know.
I feel like if you disconnect and like turn on your Xbox, then all your like Minecraft, for instance, wouldn't work. Whereas if you logged into your account first and were signed in and disconnected, then you'd be fine. I think it works kind of the same way.
You mean the same as Steam?
Yeah, the same as Steam, basically. If you put in a disc game, it'll just launch it. But for
Yeah,
like the arcade downloadable games, I'm pretty sure because they are DRM'd to like your profile.
yeah.
So I feel like you do have to get signed in Xbox Live for them to be able to run.
Maybe I can't. I'm trying to think. Like, it's the kind of the question of like, why is always online such a bad thing? Like, I'm trying to think. I had games like I bought Mass Effect and Borderlands both on. I don't know if that's an arcade game, but I bought it on demand, and I played Minecraft, and it's like I'm trying to think. Did I ever have that problem?
Hmm.
And I don't think I ever
Well,
did.
I had the problem when I brought my Xbox over to a friend's house, and he either didn't have Wi-Fi or we just didn't want to connect it to his Wi-Fi, so we couldn't play any of my arcade games.
Yeah, it might
It's
be.
just a hassle.
Yeah, yeah.
So that means
It
either I have to
probably
connect
is.
to his network to play a local. We were going to play Spelunky, which is the local four-player game. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah, it
online
is.
function. Well, I guess you can technically do multiplayer online, maybe, but we were playing local. So I mean, we wouldn't have been playing online, but we still need to connect to the internet
I
to
mean, yeah,
activate it to
it's
be able to play
basically
it.
like Steam. Like you have
Yeah,
the games on your computer, but it has to recognize that you actually bought it or whatever.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
And I guess yeah, I'm okay with Steam just because it's like a necessary evil. Like everything else works so well, so we kind of have just accepted it. you know,
yeah. My
we
biggest
fought it at first, but then it's like, oh, fine, I give up.
yeah,
Compared to like Windows Live or Origin or anything else, it's like compared to those things, it's like okay, we surrender. We'll go. We'll use Steam.
yeah. My biggest thing with this whole thing with Xbox, I even did it with PS4, was I just want to wait. Like when you hear these rumors, all they're gonna say is always online. It's not gonna have an explanation behind it. It's not gonna have or it's not gonna have any of the other features Microsoft is planning on unveiling, right?
Right.
So right now it's the worst things we're hearing. Like we're hearing always online, but then maybe they don't get to say like, well, we get to also do this if we do this. We're also going to give you this if we do this. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, I can't say that I'm 100% confident Microsoft is going to pull through and like actually like because they did have Steam sales recently with their Xbox, and I think they've had it for a couple weeks now where games were 50% off of like your favorite Xbox games, and that's
Yeah,
really
they're
cool.
definitely learning.
Yeah, and so like I'm on the boat. Like this guy, he's to me it's actually kind of weird with this person of like he sounded so cocky about how like you guys really shouldn't be mad about this. It makes me feel like we guys calm down. We actually have something like it sounds bad right now, but wait for us to actually explain what we're trying to do here, and you might not hate us as much.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
Microsoft has a really big PR problem right now. Like it's not only this, it's the whole like indie developers are leaving left and right and saying basically like F you, Microsoft, we're going to Sony. Like there's a lot of people that are kind of like even like think about Double Fine. They were like an Xbox 360 exclusive developer for a while, like 5 or 6 years, and now they're basically like, yeah, we don't really want to put games on Xbox anymore because they're just fed up with dealing with Microsoft and the shenanigans that they do.
yeah, I mean,
Phil
like
Fish, just they have not exactly ingratiated developers lately.
yeah, I mean they like I've also been hearing that like they're trying to go Connect heavy, and you know
Ugh.
it's kind of sad because like Nintendo is like almost nowhere to be found. Like it's if you the reason you'd buy Nintendo is just for their Nintendo exclusives. And it's like Nintendo, why don't you just make your games and release
Well,
it
they
to
haven't even come out
PlayStation?
with like I feel like all they did was that initial batch with the Wii U, and now it's been just
Yeah,
like radio silence. I haven't heard anything, and now I'm just having a giant bomb open, and I see that Colonial Marines was already canceled for Wii U, but that's probably just because Colonial Marines sucks. But that was supposed to be like they kept touting that as like, oh, the Wii U is gonna be the best version of Colonial Marines.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe that would have been the good one.
that's actually why the other version sucked because they were working all on the Wii U version.
Yeah, exactly. They put all the resources there.
Yeah, I think there's been more 3DS and 3D or DS games even maybe released than 3DS or than Wii U. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think overall we just feel like let's wait and see. Like, I think we both have this weird optimistic yet not yet pessimistic viewpoint.
Well,
it's a
I think
complete mystery to me at least.
yeah, I think we're not necessarily optimistic. We want all the information before we make a judgment.
Yeah,
Whereas like right now it's so murky. It's like people are like, nope, it's gonna be always on. We know that it's like we don't know anything about the Xbox.
yeah.
You
People are
know?
like, oh, I'm just getting the PS4, and it's just like, well, let's maybe you should hear it out. Like, what it I mean, I think the PS4 is probably gonna you know win this generation from the rumors
It
and all this kind of
it
stuff.
feels like it.
But who knows? Like PS3 was also wait like it failed in the beginning of the first generation and it came back pretty strong.
Yeah, but I mean when E3, let's talk after E3.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, because E3, both sides are, that's when the heavy, the big games are going to come out. When they come out and they show a demo of Halo 5 or whatever they decide, it's going to turn heads. Microsoft has the money, you know,
I hate
it's not,
Microsoft. I want to play
it's not
Halo.
like they're going to come out and be like, oh, it just has motion games and that's it. And Netflix, see you next year. They're gonna do big stuff. You know what I mean?
Hopefully.
Yeah, they better. Yeah, because that's I heard people talking about how they feel like they're abandoning the indies to focus on getting big deals going.
Yeah, they lost a lot. Like they're losing their indies now. You got to remember, Mass Effect and BioShock were both Xbox exclusives. Very at least when
Yeah,
they first came out.
yeah. I
And
mean, that's
those
one of the reasons I wanted to get an Xbox 360 was so I could play Mass Effect.
yeah, and
Like that game, was looked insane at the time.
and now I'm playing it on my PC, which is awesome.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, to me, it's just kind of been like I mean, my two biggest reasons I want Xbox to not fail is one, I think it's nice to have competition with the Sony versus
Always.
Microsoft stuff, and two, I still want to play Halo. I'm not a hardcore fan, but I still want to play. I bought Halo 4. I want to finish the trilogy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I hope you got anything else to say, Corey? I think we hit it.
I think that was all we had on that topic.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you later. Adios.